The third South Park game was revealed to be in the making a couple months ago, so why not pitch to you guys what I think the next South Park game should be about. Let's just get straight into it. I'm not wasting any time here because I have a lot of ideas. When thinking about the next South Park game, the first thing I think about was the theme. The last two games that have come out, the Stick of Truth and the Fractured Butthole, I'm still shocked they got the approval to have that as a name. It's hilarious. Both of these games had a theme, a gimmick, one that related to popular trends and movies that were happening at that time. During the Stick of Truth release, fantasy and mystical fiction was popping off. Lord of the Rings was popular still at that time. Game of Thrones, shit, even the Twilight movies were popular. During the Fractured Butthole release, superheroes was popular as hell at the time. Even now, hitting billions at the box office and even the video game industry. Marvel movies, DC movies, the CW shows, the Spider-Man and Arkham games, superheroes are still popular today, with people now starting to slowly lose interest, but 2015 to 2020 was a different league of hype around it. So it made sense to make the second game around superheroes. So we obviously want a different theme. What would the third game be about? Well, hear me out here. Make it into a multiverse style game. Think about the current trend that's been happening the past few years. The MCU's new multiverse saga. The Flash. Everything Everywhere All at Once. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Beyond the Spider-Verse, or whatever the hell that new one is called. It's insane. Now that the MCU has basically popularized the term multiverse, allowing audiences and writers to understand it enough to make movies and shows about them and have audiences understand what is happening, everyone is hopping on that trend. Why wouldn't South Park do it? Think about the comedic potential on handling different universes of South Park characters that we know and love. Let's move on to the premise now. What will the storyline look like handling the multiverse in South Park? Well, knowing the trend of games ending on their third game, let's act like this game is intended to be the last, as well as being the conclusion to all three. So my first idea is the plot being somehow many universes of the South Park colliding together, making all the universes at risk to being destroyed completely. You can have universes from the past games being thrown in there too, like everyone in the Lord of the Rings inspired outfits from Stick of Truth, and everyone in their superhero outfits and always staying in the outfits, and them sticking to their bits. Tell me it wouldn't be fucking hilarious seeing all three cartmans arguing with each other about working together and which one was the actual leader. Or all of Butters being best friends with each other. Or shit, maybe even regular Kenny and Princess Kenny having sex with each other. Tell me you don't see that shit happening. They've done worse. Another good idea I have is to them maybe even bring in the kindergarten and future versions of the main characters to help them too. We could have some nice heartwarming moments between the characters, trying to point them in the right direction. Okay, we have the premise, we have the plot, we have the characters. Now we need a villain, or villains. How about we have one of the universes wanting the multiverse to be destroyed, so they try to stop our multiverse team, all the good guys, from stopping it. These could be a team of the deadliest and evilest things in South Park multiverse. Cthulhu, Satan, Saddam Hussein, Hitler Cartman. Shit, even include Garrison Trump in there for the shits and giggles. Maybe they know how to save one universe, the evil universe, which is also the introduction into our leader of this team, Evil Cartman. I know where you're thinking, Evil Cartman? He's already evil. Maybe. But I think having a plot point or even a recurring joke in the game where the characters are confused as hell on why there is an evil version of Cartman when they have a regular Cartman who's already evil as shit. I mean, come on guys, this is gold. I believe doing this will serve as a nice conclusion to all the games, and end it in a way that feels satisfying. Shit, I'm sure these games aren't canon to the show, so just go nuts with it. What are some gameplay improvements that they can add to this third game that can also make it feel different from the others? Well, I have one big idea that I think will tremendously help the gameplay loop of the South Park games. The other two games work as strategic RPG games similar to XCOM. While I really like these two games, I think the gameplay loop also missed something. Not the open world, or the customization, or the story, just the gameplay loop. Just a little thing missing. Because we were dealing with a bigger, more epic story for South Park. I think the best thing to do here is build on the gameplay loop from the past two games by making it more open and free. Do what XCOM does by making it more of a battlefield, and you are controlling multiple characters at once. Imagine being able to control Princess Kenny, Lord Randy, Jesus, and even freaking Al Gore all in one team against a bunch of enemies inside of the school. Another thing I could compare it to that I'm thinking of is Wasteland, the Wasteland games. Imagine this, but South Park edition. I think another thing that they can add for this game, remember how I said I had one big idea and I just said 5 different ideas? My bad, guys. But I think another thing that they can add for this game is picking different classes based off of all the universes that have a main part in the story. So since the Stick of Truth universe characters are in here, allow us to pick a fantasy class. The Fractured But Whole universe characters allow us to pick a superhero class. The future universe as well could have a futuristic class where you can use high-tech shit like laser guns and robots and flying cars and shit. Maybe we can even have a goth universe in this game, so we can have a goth magic class. All of them could have different skill trees and builds to add for replayability in the game. Like, I'm telling you guys, I would spend like hundreds of hours on this game if it was similar to this, because in Fractured But Whole, the different classes that you get kind of are not that different from one another. And all these things will damn sure fix it for the third game. And that's it, fellas. That is my pitch for the third South Park game, coming out very soon. So hey, EA, if you haven't created the story yet for the game and happen to see this video, do this. Make the freaking storyline freaking multiverse. It will be amazing. The potential is insane here. To be honest though, I see them making the new game similar to a multiverse storyline, since South Park always knows how to keep up with the trends. Hell, they could probably even do a time travel plot, which could be why they did those post-COVID specials on Paramount Plus to establish these future versions of the characters that we know for the game. It's just a guess though. Alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, and comment what you think of this pitch that I have here, or what you think the next game should be about. And I'll see your asses in the next video.
Poker face, poker face, poker face,